Mark O'Connor is an American bluegrass, jazz, country, and classical violinist and fiddler, composer, and music teacher who was also a child prodigy. As a teenager, he won national string instrument championships for his virtuoso playing of the guitar and mandolin, as well as on the fiddle. His great mentors include old-time Texas fiddler Benny Thomasson and French jazz violinist Stéphane Grappelli. This week, he's in Hong Kong to take part in a series of workshops and performances called The Intimacy of Creativity. And right now, he's in our studio. Welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. And it's a real pleasure to have you in Hong Kong. You're here as part of the Intimacy of Creativity series, hosted by the University of Science and Technology, but your concert's at the Hong Kong City Hall. What will you be doing there?
Yes, we're going to play a couple movements of my most recent string quartet. And it's subtitled Old Time, and it takes its influences culturally and stylistically from old-time music from Appalachia. And it's really a wonderful experience showing my string quartet to these very fine classical musicians here at the festival. It really is designed for classical musicians to perform. It's completely written out, and it's a long-form string quartet. And I also have another one, number 2, that's entitled, subtitled Bluegrass. So they go together, and I have a string quartet back in the States that performs these two quartets quite often.
Now, the Intimacy of Creativity series is really a dialogue between composers and performers, and you've also, well, in Hong Kong, have been sharing your knowledge with the kids at the Academy for the Performing Arts, among other things, and also written some violin methods. What can you tell me about all these various projects that you're involved in now, and how do you really define yourself? Are you a fiddler? You're a violinist?
Well, I wrote a recent blog, and I said in the title, the violin is so cool it has 2 names, violin and fiddle. I've really tried to blur the boundaries in my career, and I think that, you know, for me, American classical music, it's essential that we have some of our own language, especially from the strings, because we have a rich language there. You know, when I hear the Chinese erhu, for instance, there's a lot of similarities between the folk music of China and the folk music of the United States. And so I draw on those bridges and similarities and bring things together. I try to not dwell too much on differences, because music is a real healing thing, and music certainly has healed our country in the United States. We've had real serious issues with our population, slavery, and the killing of Native Americans early in the American times. And it was the music that helped people communicate and bring people together, and that's what I'm concentrating on.
You've played with so many world-class musicians of all different musical stripes and shades. What would you say is your defining criteria in terms of deciding what project to do next or who to work with?
Well, one of the things that I really wanted to do at this point in my life was concentrate on this method. It's going to take me years to roll it out, and I'm on book 3 now, and already many children are learning from it. And the message is that American music involved everybody, every ethnicity that lived there, the Latinos, the African Americans, the Native Americans, all played this instrument, the violin. As soon as the violin came over from Europe 400 years ago, it became an instrument that everybody loved over there. And they played their own style, they created styles together, and that's why we have the great styles of country music and bluegrass and Texas swing, Cajun music, and then country rock and roll and hip-hop, all derived from this sort of development of our language.
As a performer stroke composer, what are the next projects in the pipeline for you?
Well, I've got a new concerto that I wrote for symphony orchestra. It's called the Improvised Violin Concerto. It is my 9th concerto, and I perform a lot with symphony orchestras, and this is the newest one. The entire orchestral part is written out, all notated, but the solo line that I play is completely made up on stage. Not even, I don't even give myself any themes or melodies, I just make those up too. Some of the melodic content is within the orchestration, and it's called the Improvised Violin Concerto, and it will be out on DVD next year.
And what can we have you play for us here in the studio today?
I'm going to play a medley, just 2 pieces I'll put together. my Appalachia Waltz that I composed, and Yo-Yo Ma helped me make famous in the country, and he still plays it today. And then my Call of the Mockingbird piece, which is an excerpt from my second violin concerto.